All right, it is JVC himself, Jeremy Kennedy. Man, about 10 months on the sidelines at this point, but it's about go time for you now. As we're getting closer, man, how you feeling about this latest matchup?
Yeah, man, it's not ideal. I've been trying to get consistency, but this last one was my own fault. Bellator was doing their job. I got rebooked. It was December, then April. It was supposed to be the fight, and I did put a full camp in. So it's not like I've been completely on the sidelines. It was right at the last, like right before fight week. So I did the full camp, but didn't get to do the fight. So financially, it's been a struggle, but I've been in the gym the whole time, and then here we are, fight week, feel good, healthy, weight's good. I just can't wait, man. I'm glad I got this matchup and the platform that it's on, the card that it's on, with the title fight a few fights after. This pretty much lines up a title fight, so there's high stakes on this.
I love it. We'll talk about that card, but I did want to ask you about what the hell happened, man? A broken orbital in training? Like that's
So
not supposed to happen, bro.
no, and it was the last sparring. It was actually like this time last camp. It was the Tuesday or the Wednesday that I got the CT results. So like a few days ago, heading into fight week. But so what it was like an open punch. It was like the knuckles, and it hit the soft spot, and it was like the weirdest thing. It felt like a bag of like pebbles, like a rock hit me, and it wasn't like didn't daze me. Wasn't a big shot. Didn't think anything of it. It was just all my teeth went numb. So it felt kind of really weird, and again didn't get dazed, rocked, nothing. So I didn't think anything of it. I did 3 more rounds afterwards. Then I went to the doctor to do my physicals, got all my medicals done, and I mentioned it. And he's like, that's kind of strange. Like, that shouldn't be done. It was like the top 4 teeth. So he sent me for a CT scan, and it came back, and it was fractured orbitals. But what it actually was the nasal canal. So it's just the little soft spot of like your cheekbone into the bottom of your like nose. It's just the weirdest little spot that was just soft. And I got hit with an open knuckle, open palm, and just freak accident, and it just happened to be the very last step of camp. And the reason why they pulled me was it was the same doctor who did all my physicals, and he's like, I can't let you go in there with these fractures. Like, if that were to get hit, which it's a target, that could collapse. And that's what we saw with the Cyborg and MVP with that knee. And he's like, the road to recovery is just something you do not want to deal with. And so it was kind of out of my control. It was actually funny. The night I got the call, I called my coaches, and I was like, what do we do? Like, are we fighting? Like, I think I should just do it anyways. Like, we're so close. And we're like, we don't know. And then the doctor's like, man, what are you talking about? I've already let Bellator know. Like, this is their decision. And I was like, so it kind of was out of my control. But I've had 30 fights, and this has never happened to me before. And you see it all the time, guys getting hurt right at the very last minute. And I've been fortunate that I've fought pretty well on everyone I've lined up to fight. I've done a full camp and been able to fight them, and just kind of roll with it. It was just all part of it. And I got the same fight again, and it's on the same state, same everything. Is just 5 months later. So again, it was just financially, but I'm the better me than I was in April. So that's the best way to look at it.
Well, first thing, let me just say, thank God we have doctors involved in this sport because you guys are knuckleheads. You shouldn't be going out there with a broken orbital bone.
It's a
and you,
oh, it's not broken. It's cracked.
ridiculous. All right, but as you said, the same matchup put back together, which I think is great because this is a matchup I think a lot of people wanted to see. But I'm just curious, did it matter to you? Like, did you care? Were you like, I want that fight again, or did it really matter to you who you fought?
I did. I just needed a fight. Like, I was looking to fight in the summer. Like, it took 4 weeks or 6 weeks to get the clearance, and that was like by mid-June. I was good to go, full contact again. So I was itching. I was like, I went through a full camp. I was on Ali, like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Trying to fight everybody in the whole division. I was sending him names. I was like, what about this guy, this guy, this guy? And just because Pico did end up getting a fight, he kind of put him on the back of the line. So I wasn't necessarily like dying to get that exact matchup. I just wanted a fight. But then once it had got to the point where they're rebooking all these guys that had fought, and I kind of got put into that I missed my cue kind of thing, right? And so then I was eager for this fight, and I was like, this is the only way I can fight up. Mads got booked with Pedro, and then everybody else above me is either fighting for the title or gone up to 55. So I was like, unless I want to fight down, this is my route, you know, and this is the biggest fight. He gets the most attention in the division, and this is my shot to have the most eyes on my fight, you know. And look at where we are on the card. You know, we're right, I think, right under the co-main on a pretty big card stateside, you know, with the title fight, you know. And so it's perfect for me. It's a huge opportunity, and yes, it's a risk, but it's a big reward as well. And that's why I'm in this. You know, I don't want to fight just some guy. I hate fighting and somebody be, oh, who are you fighting? And then you got to tell them, and they're like, oh, who? You know, like, it's like, who are you fighting? Pico. Like, oh shit, okay. And now they're interested in the fight instantly. You know, so it's a big opportunity, and I see holes, and I know I can win this fight, and so I'm prepared to it, and I can't wait, man. This is my route to the title.
Okay, so I was going to ask you because you laid out all the reasons why a matchup with him makes sense, and you're 100% right. The attention that he gets, the name value, it's all there. But you just said you see holes. I was say, what do you see in him as an actual fighter? Because the kid, I mean, obviously anybody in the rankings where you guys are at, everybody's talented. But I mean, he's been this uber prospect forever. He's had some setbacks, but he seems to be kind of finding his stride. So what do you think about him as a fighter?
Oh, he's good, man, and he's a fighter's fighter. You know, like if I wasn't fighting him, he's a fan. Like I would love to watch him fight. You know, just his style. But I think that is also his biggest holes is his aggression. You know, and he loads up with everything, which is again dangerous for me. But it's also that leaves openings. You know, you need a guy that's going to be really a pressure fighter to create openings, whether it be takedowns, counter punches, crashing into stuff, you know, and there's more question marks as well. You know, he's never been put on his back, and he's facing a guy that can wrestle with him. Then I'm not afraid to wrestle with him. I'm not afraid to grapple with him, you know. And so I think this is a big test for him, and it's a big test for me, you know, just stylistically. And it's all hearsay, you know, until we get in there and I get my hands on him and feel those hips and get after it. But I just know I'm prepared to fight fire with fire. I can't let him lead the dance, and that's what he's been able to do against this little string of wins he's put together. Is just he's beating the guys he should, but it's the way he's doing it that's impressive, you know. And a lot of these guys, he hasn't had any resistance at all in his last 5-6 fights, and I plan on coming out there and stopping that shit right away. I can't let him, you know, lead the dance, and that's where we're gonna figure it out in the first couple minutes of the fight. That it's not going to just be a cakewalk and he's just swinging the hammer the whole time. There's no way. I can't let that happen. So it won't happen.
I love it, man. That's why we've been wanting to see this fight, and I'm glad they put it back together. Now, I'm curious because you talked about kind of your path to the title, right? I mean, look, Pico does come in with a big name recognition, but you're sitting at number 6 right now, man. You win this fight. I mean, now we're talking about like a number 1 contender fight or something like that, right? I mean, are you starting to kind of map that out and see that path?
Number 1 contender fight. It's got to be, you know, like I think a win over Pico, I don't know what more of a claim you can make outside of anybody else. I think he is the biggest name, and he's the toughest fight in the division outside of the title fight. I know Mads and Pedro just fought like now.
Yeah.
But
Did you see the result?
I missed the fight, but I saw Pedro one. I was like,
Pedro won.
There's got to be something wrong there because Mads my boy, and there's I don't know.
It was a surprising result. Mads was a little bit flat, man. Pedro looked good, and Mads was a little bit flat because you're right. Mads is incredibly talented, man. But yeah, Pedro won.
At all. So that's very shocking to me. Very, very shocking to me. So again, still Pedro has come off with a few setbacks, and I don't know how you would pick him with me. Again, like I said, I think a win over Pico holds the most weight. Maybe AJ can pull some Hollywood shit and come back down, but that's about it. But even then, if you're as a fan looking at it, a win over Pico or a win over Spike at 55, you know, but still, that's all out of my control. All I can control is get this win and put myself in the best possible position, you know, and that's why I'm not looking too much at the title fight. You know, like that's more of over the hill. You know, I got a lot of work to do to get that, to earn that, and that's to get through Pico, you know. But then if I do, or when I do, it's either a rematch or a legend that I get to fight. So I don't care how that fight goes.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, look, when you lay the case out like that, you're right. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I know you just said you don't care how that fight. I was curious about that, if one would mean more than the other, right? Like fighting for a title against a legend, obviously that's big, but then getting a rematch and a title fight at the same time.
Man, it's the only thing that they're both sweet. That's why you couldn't be I couldn't be upset either way. But I think time is of the essence as well. So I can't let Pitbull retire before I get my hands on him, you know, and who knows when that time's coming, where I know Borix is a young guy, he's gonna be around. And I knew as soon as that fight ended, it was a close fight, but I didn't perform the way I know I can. And a little bit more, you know, the fight could have went a whole different way. So I knew right when we both left that cage, I was like, I'm gonna see him again. You know, we're both young, we're both in the top of this division. I'm gonna see him. But whether it be for the title this next fight after, who knows? But I don't want Pitbull to run into retirement before that. He's the legend, man. He is the Bellator's champ, divisional, you know, record breaker, everything. So I fought Emmanuel Sanchez, going to be fighting the Golden Boy and Pico, you know, fought Borix. You know, I want all these big names. So that's I can't choose, because one of them is going to be chosen for me. So we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of things to play out, but I'll tell you what, when you put it like that, can you imagine back to back over Pico and Pitbull? Like, whoo!
Yeah.
I love it. Well, listen, a lot of things have to play out. First thing that's got to happen, as you said, you can't lose sight of what's the task at hand. It has to pick up a win. So I guess just talk to him. What kind of fight do you think we see here, man? I mean, you said it. Pico's aggressive. He's explosive. I mean, he's in those kind of fights. So is this something that gets put away early, or are you better suited kind of dragging him late and dragging him to deep waters? What kind of fight you think we see here?
It's so hard with this one, man. I honestly feel like it's a feet to the floor type fight because of his credentials. You know, you would think he's going to want to come out there and box with me, both of us being pretty strong wrestlers. But it's in his DNA. You know, you watch all of his fights. Every single fight is a big punch right into his wrestling, and he blends it very well. So I think instinctually he's not going to be able to not shoot on me. You know, it's going to be coming. And I feel like that's going to set up a lot of grappling transitions. We'll see how the grappling transitions go. And I know you're going to be striking. I'm going to be meeting him in the middle. We're going to be in the clinch. I'm not backing up. So when he's coming forward, we're going to be crashing into each other. And it's going to be feet to the floor, man. I think it's just going to be chaotic. And I'm excited for it. I can't tell you. Oh, it could be anything. And I'll take anything. You know, I just want my hand raised at all cost.
Massive. Big fight for you. Big fight card. I've been telling everybody, man, Bellator 286, October 1st. You can't miss that card, man. It's loaded from top to bottom, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. And as you said, JVC a win here. Maybe title shot next, man.
Oh, yeah. My man.
I love it. Best of luck to you, brother. I appreciate the time, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.